What is going on, guys? Good morning and welcome back to another video. Today we are in the Oneer. I always forget how loud this thing is every time I drive it. And not like exhaust note loud. I mean, the exhaust is like relatively loud. It's not loud. But just the interior, the cabin and the tires and everything, this car, every time I drive it, it's just like, it's a whole experience. It's right on that like line of too much. but it's always just rowdy and fun to drive. So every time I do get to drive it, it's just such an enjoyable and like cool and fun experience. So there's just so much going on with this car. There's like so many noises. The turbos are so loud. These Musselman turbos have served me really, really well over the past, what has it been, year since we built this car. And yeah, I've had nothing but honestly great things to say about these turbos. Like the way that they spool, the way they feel, the way they sound, the suspected power that I'm getting out of them. I don't really know like what this car is making, somewhere in the 4s, I'm sure. It's literally on a base map tune, 93 pump. Like I never really went crazy with this this setup, and it's just been a car that I've been just driving and enjoying. But these turbos have been awesome. Like I've had zero issues with them whatsoever. So these are the Musselman twins, the upgraded Musselman twins. And a lot of people were asking why I am going to the single turbo setup and like what my experience has been on these twins. And like I just said, you know, my experience has been awesome on these twins. I think that people have a lot of hit or miss experiences with the twins on the N54s, being that they do get really hot, and a lot of people buy like the China turbos, which is fine. Like honestly, it's an N54. The whole point is kind of to keep it cheap, and you don't want to put a ton of money into it. Like I get it. You can just go with like a pure setup or like the China turbos. And it seems like the majority of people, like that works pretty well for them for as long as they're willing to take it. I think that when it comes to like the single turbo setup in these cars, it's just a different experience entirely. When you have driven a car, an N54 car that's single turbo, it's just like an entirely new experience. And it changes the entire car. Like it changes the whole way, the whole character of the car and the way that it feels. So when I got to ride in my friend's bottom mount kit car, he has the same turbo that I'm actually getting. It just felt right. Like it just felt like it fit with that car. The power delivery, the spool, the noise, it just felt right. And so, you know, my initial goal was to just take this thing into S65 territory and like do what I wanted to do with that. But kind of wanted to experience the single turbo setup because I haven't done that yet in any of these cars, where like I just put like a full frame single turbo kit on it. And so the guys at Doc Race reached out, and I was like, fuck it, why not? You know, I might as well try it out and see how I like it. Maybe I like it so much that I don't even want to put the S65 in the car. Who knows? But yeah, so we're gonna try it out. I have the kit at my house. I'm still waiting on the turbo. From what I understand, Precision is pretty backed up. But I went with the Doc Race single turbo kit, and I went with the Precision 6266 turbo, which is still being built. So the kit actually only took like 2 weeks to get to me. It was like fast, man. He was really quick with it. The turbos, I guess, are just backed up from being built right now. So as soon as we get that in, you know, I'm really cutting it close for Beamer Invasion. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get that kit on the car with all of the supporting stuff that I have to do in order to run that kit, or I guess want to do in order to run that kit. I do want to run a secondary low pressure fuel pump. I do want to run my port injection. I do want to run my motive reflex. I do want to run the kit. I do want to run the turbo. So there's a good amount of work, not a ton, but there's a good amount of work that has to be done. And we are so busy at the shop, I just don't know if we're going to be able to, you know, the show is in a month and a half. Like I'm already arranging transport, you know, so I just don't know if this is going to be done in time. It's okay if it's not. Like I bring the car to the show with the twins on, I'm cool with that too. It doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. Like when it gets done, it gets done. I'm kind of done putting these like deadlines over my head. But yeah, Yeah, man, the twins rip in this car. It's a good setup, and the spool is like immediate. Yeah, those two little turbos, they just spool immediately. It's like instant power. So if you are looking to do a simple setup, I mean, I say simple, let's be real here. Like one of the reasons that I really like going to the single is it's so much easier to like work on and manage with a single turbo setup. The twin setup in this car is just so jam-packed. Everything is so tight. If you have to change anything, it's a lot more work comparatively to the single turbo setup. I think the single turbo setup just looks also a million times better than the twin. You can't even see the twins. So there's a lot more reasons than just like the power and like the way that it feels. But you know, if you are looking to not have to change too many things and just keep it the way it is and just, you know, run your same fueling setup, like the twins will get you there. Like, it's really all you need. The thing is, like, these twins, these Musselman twins are expensive. Like, I'm not even gonna front. I think that these are probably way more than you need to spend in order to like go down that road to do twins. These are like $3,500 upgraded twins, when like you could do pure, which I think is a little bit cheaper. And of course you could do the China turbos, which are like super cheap. I just don't know about longevity with those. Some people have like really good experiences with them, and some people have terrible experiences with them, which is just like kind of everything on the internet. But with these turbos in general, it's been really good. The only negative thing I have to say about these turbos, which I also don't think is like, which I also don't think is a problem that only exists with the Musselman turbos. I think it's all of the twin turbo setups in general in these cars. You just get a lot of wastegate rattle. Like, that is one thing. If you are picky, I'm kind of picky with my cars. Like, noises happen and I'm like, God damn it, like what the fuck is that? Like, I gotta fix that thing. Which is a constant struggle with any kind of real project car. Like, you're just always getting noises and you're like, okay, what the fuck do I fix now? These turbos are loud wastegate rattle. Like, the moment we put them on the car, like nothing like changed. They're just loud. And so that's something that I will, you know, be on the forefront about and be honest about, like up front. Like, you're gonna have wastegate rattle in these cars with this setup. And I also think that you're gonna have wastegate rattle with any of the twin setups. Like, I think they just all kind of do that. It is what it is. So there are like little things about this setup that will probably annoy certain people. Is it like a deal breaker? Absolutely not. Like, it's really not the end of the world. The only time that you really hear it is like super low RPM and or like on startup and turn off. Like, really, that's the only time that you hear any of that. N54 motors are cheap. I can get an N54 motor, the entire motor, for less than what these turbos are. Like, way less. Like, I can get like this motor setup. Like, I bought this motor for $1,800. That's one thing I do love about the N54s. They're just so freaking cheap. Like, you can just go get another motor for dirt cheap and just like build it on the side while you have your other motor. That's what I'm doing right now. And I've not had any issues with this setup either. Like, it's just been super reliable, you know? Which is like, reliable and N54 in the same sentence? It can't be. But it has been really good. Like, any issues that I've had with this car, they've all been initial install parts issues. Like, silly things, like fuel pump was installed incorrectly. Like, some things weren't tightened down. Some things needed to be rerouted. Like, nothing pertaining to like the engineering of the motor or the car has created any issues for me whatsoever. So I've had no issues when it comes to like N54 stuff. But yeah, this one in particular has just been like, I've just had a really awesome experience with it, like all around. This car in general, dude, like, it's just been so fun. It's been one of the best build to build because everything has just sort of, I mean, there have been roadblocks, but like, for the most part, everything has pretty much gone to plan really well with this car. Like, it's been an effortless process for the most part, you know, outside of the things that I kind of expected were going to be problems. It's been like a pretty good, fun, easy process. I don't know what you're doing, bro. Yeah, this thing rips, dude. The only thing about this car that I haven't like been fully satisfied with is just the it's just the suspension and like the rear subframe and like little things like that. It's just like sloppy, and that's kind of to be expected because it's a 135 like stock rear end, you know, and like I have all of this other shit upgraded. So obviously those are things that I'm tackling in 2024. This car is going to be like an animal when I'm done, dude. It's going to be set up so good. So good. No corners cut on this thing. It's going to be good. Ooh. Oh! Rub. The rub. Yeah, dude. This thing's ripped. It's such a fun car to drive. Like, it's just such a little go-kart. You just whip it around. But when you get into like the handling, it's just the rear end is just like really just like sloppy, just kind of mushy, you know? It just needs the same attention that I've given everything else. And then it's just gonna be so good. It's gonna be so tight and solid. So I'm really looking forward to the rear subframe stuff. It's like something that you're not gonna be able to see, you know, but it's gonna change the entire character of this car. Like, truly change this car into like a good performing car. But yeah, dude, these turbos that rip. I mean, it's not, you can definitely tell that it's not like tuned to the point where it's like aggressive. It definitely hits a point where boost is just kind of like I think that that's really what I'm looking forward to with the big single. Like, I want that thing to pull up top like a freight train. This thing sort of just hits a limit towards the upper end where it just sort of falls on its face a little bit. And like, mind you, like base tune, 93 pump, like we're nowhere near the capabilities of these turbos or the motor or the fueling or anything. It's just this is a very base conservative setup. But I'm really looking forward to that next phase, that next push in this car, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to rip. I definitely want to turn this thing into just a rowdy little street car. And once I get my metal quarters on, I would like to take this thing out to the track and just have a little bit of fun with it. Just fuck around, VIR or something, you know, do some fun shit. So yeah, if you're thinking about going with twins, man, I say try it out. Like, obviously, you know, your car's gonna come stock with twins if you're on a 335 setup. But if you want to go the upgraded route, I mean, it all depends on what your goals are, right? Like, you could definitely upgrade to the single turbo kit, and you know, it's really not that expensive. Like, a full kit is like $5 grand from Doc Race. Obviously, there's other kits you can go with. I mean, you can spend anywhere from 5 to 15 grand, like depending on what kind of turbo you go with, what kind of kit you go with, how far you want to take it. I think Doc Race is a well-known company. Like, they've been doing this for a long time, and for the most part, like, I trust their products. I have their intake manifold on my car. It was a good experience. Like, I don't think it's, you know, exceptional. I think it's good enough for what this car is. So, you know, I mean, I don't think a lot of people are buying N54s to turn them into like these insane builds. I think that for the most part, at this day and age, like, people are being pretty conservative with them and like understanding what they are, because they are N54s and things go wrong when the mileage gets up there. Because ask me how I know, we have to repair them all the time. Like, every single N54 that I see coming to the shop, unless it's someone who's like really built the car up, every single N54 that comes in the shop has the same issues, the same leaks from the same places and the same problems. Like, they all do the same shit. So like, if you're not nipping that in the butt along the way of the ownership, which the majority of people aren't, they're just driving them, you're gonna have issues. But yeah, depending on what you want on the car, like the single turbo setup can be a really, I think, like a really cool experience, and you're just gonna get an entirely different feel out of the car, and obviously sound. Like, it's gonna sound completely different which I'm really looking forward to. I think the 6266 is like a good turbo for this car. The reason I went with that turbo is because that was what my buddy had on his single turbo setup. He was running the 6266, and like the spool was really, really good. It was quick. It felt great up top. Like everything about it just like made sense. I was like, yeah, this will work. This will do. And if I want to like upgrade to something bigger down the road, of course I can. But I don't think I'm going to. That turbo's rated for like 850 plus horsepower. This car will not be making 850 plus horsepower. not on the stock motor, unless I want to say goodbye to my stock motor. But you know, I think that I'll push this one as far as I want to and have my way with it. And then ultimately, I would like to see the X65 in this car. I don't know. That's just like a dream of mine. No real reason in particular. Just something that I've wanted to see in this car, and I've wanted to build for a long time. So fuck it, why not, you know? You can always go back to just doing a N54 build in any other car. There's N54s in every car. I just like the S65 setup because it's different. And not everyone does it. That's why I like it. And it sounds fucking cool. So we'll get there as well, but gotta walk before you can run. The coilovers on this car are the ST coilovers, which are like the cheapy versions of KWs. I mean, man, you can just really tell, like, this car's so good, and then it comes down to the suspension, and it's just bad. It just kind of falls on its face a little bit. Listen, dude. Carpool's good. Carpool's good, man. And I take this thing out every weekend and purposely just dog on it, dude. I just drive it hard. And the reason that I do that is because I really want to see, like, what are the limits with this setup and how long can I push it until, like, I hit a failure point in something, and then I know, okay, it's probably time to, like, that's the next thing that I need to worry about addressing in the car. I think that that's like a great way to just find out the weak points in these cars. I've sort of weeded them all out. Like, I've pushed the car enough to find out, okay, this thing is not going to work with this setup. This is pushing it too much for this part of the car. And you just find those weak points over time. Things move around, shift, you know, anytime you're building a car like that. It loses traction like immediately, even on twins. So it's gonna be rowdy on the singles. I ended up changing the tire size in the rear. I had 295/30/18 in the rear, ended up going down to a 275/35/18. So I increased the sidewall and I brought in the width, which is actually really interesting with the R888Rs. Like, I thought, so I have RT660s on the other car. Oh, I'm sorry, RT615s, the Falcons on my M3, and they are the same size in the rear, same exact wheels, just different colors. And the stretch is like, there's so much stretch in the Falcons. But with the composition of the R888Rs, there's like no stretch even on a 275/35/18 in the rear. It's crazy. So, like, I like that because the sidewall is much more uniform with the 35, and I had to bring the width in a little bit because the 295 was just hitting everything in the rear. And I think that that's pretty much how well, I'm almost certain that that's how I cracked the rear quarter on this car, being that it's fiberglass. Like I said before, like, this, I don't really care about that. Like, fiberglass is fiberglass. I knew that was going to happen at some point. Like, with the way that I drive this car, I was like, it is only a matter of time. Like, I'm just biding time until I smack a tire into the rear quarter, the fiberglass, and just crack it. And of course it happened. Like, I knew it was gonna happen. So, but I'm going to metal. Like, I don't, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I was at the point where I was like, I don't even, like, the body shop offered to fix it for free, but I was like, I don't even fucking care, dude. Like, I'm just gonna do it again. I'm just gonna break it again. Like, I'll just order the metal ones, and when they get here, let's just put them on, because inevitably that's the direction to go, and then I never have to worry about it again. And it's like, cool, like I have an entire rear metal quarter panel, and I can run whatever fucking tire I want, and like the worst that happens is I get a little bit of rub, you know, but obviously not ideal, but like, you get the point. So yeah, we will have the metal quarters going on too, which I think is going to make a big difference in this car. Probably change like the rigidity of it a little bit, I'm sure too. They got to cut out the whole thing and fucking re-weld in the new ones. It's going to be crazy. A lot of work, glass out job. I don't know what it's going to cost. They were like, well, just get us the parts and we'll figure out what it's going to cost. I'm like, oh, great. Awesome. Anytime someone says that, I'm like, God damn it. Like, it's going to be more than I want to spend. But, probably should have just gone with metal in the beginning, but whatever, man. Sometimes you just got to try shit out for yourself and see how that works. You know what I mean? You never know. You never know until you get into it. I don't know where I am. Get out of here. Loud, man. This car's loud. Today's the first of the year. The first of 2024. Get those New Year's resolutions in, folks. People still do that? Oh, yeah, dude. All right, cool. Let's wrap this up. What a little go-kart, man. This thing's so wild. So fun to drive. Never driven a 135, you have to drive a 135. They're so fun. Little go-karts, man. Like the proportions of the tires are so much better now. They looked kind of weird with the 295/30 because like the sidewall is so much skinnier in the back. This just looks so much more proportionate all the way around. And a 275 really isn't even like, it's not even like stretched that much, you know what I mean? Like it looks good on the car, at least with these tires. I think if I went to like the Falcon or something, it would look a little bit more goofy, but with these tires, I think the 275/35 and like, man, it's just chunky. It looks great. It looks great on the car, especially comparative to the 265/35. So that's what it is, 275/35/18, 265/35/18 on the front. I'm actually thinking about taking these down to a 255/35/18 because they're just a little bit too wide in the front. These tires are actually pretty much on their way out. But I end up hitting the tab inside of here and it pops out the bumper a little bit every time I do it. And I just don't want to be hitting shit. So if I bring this into like a 255, I think I'd be in a really good position. And I don't really need 265 up front, you know what I mean? So it's like, might as well go for it. But 275 is the move in the rear. It looks so much better. So much better. Thing's wicked, dude. Such a fun little car. One other little funny thing that I ordered that I put on that I didn't show anyone is Braum makes this like little seatbelt thing for their Braum seats, and it's not badged or anything, like it's not labeled or anything. It just looks like that. But what it does is obviously it protects the side of your the top shoulder area of your Recaro. So if you have like pole positions or anything like that, you can run one of these and it basically just straps around here and you run your seatbelt through it and you don't have to worry about it scratching up your seat. This was starting to get like worn out on the side here and I was like, damn it, I need to put something there. Kind of see on that side how it sits. And over time, just getting in and out, like it just ends up marring up the side. So you can buy this thing for like 20 bucks or whatever by Braum and it just protects it. It's kind of cool. All right, so anyways, first video of 2024. There we go. Got it knocked out. Little 1 series video today, a little ride along. I'm excited to get this thing on the single turbo setup. I think it's gonna be really, really fun. And the twins have been awesome for me this far. I know I haven't really like taken the twins to the extreme, but to be honest with you, I never really had the intention of doing that. I just kind of wanted to get the twins on the car when I had the motor into the car to get things running. I never really intended on just taking the twins until the point where they explode. It was just kind of like, well, they're in there and the car's driving and I'm happy with that for now. But I think overall, overall with the experience, performance, sound, single is going to be super fun in this car. And I think the 6.266 turbo, at least from my experience, is going to be perfect with this setup. Stock motor, N54, quick spooling, probably make somewhere in the 6.7s wheel horsepower when I have on my E and my port and everything. I think it's going to be a really fun setup. Hopefully I can get it done before Beamer Invasion. If not, I'm just going to take it on the twins and say fuck it. But yeah, it's going to be good, man. So anyways, if you guys have any experience with running twins or single turbos on the N54s, which I'm sure a lot of you do, this is like not a new platform. This is not some sort of new crazy setup. Everyone has done this before, so I'm sure there's a lot of people who have experience with it. Drop those comments down below. But just like that, we're gonna end this one out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.